When I say I'm just a girl who follows her dragons, I sincerely mean that. And all I'm going to be sharing with you guys today is one of my favorite story times from my spiritual practice of how following the dragons led me to having an intuitive Draconian Initiation Ritual. And you're definitely going to want to hear this story because it's full of raw power, full of sacred willpower, and also facing your fears. But if you are new here, assalamu alaikum, merry meet, and welcome back to your daily dose of DragonFaether. My name is Azura DragonFaether, the Draconic Priestess, and today I will be your host for sharing how I had a very intuitive Draconian Initiation Ritual. And for those of you guys who are new here, I have genuinely been posting videos to this channel for over 13 years now, and in documenting this journey of mine with the dragons, I slowly started, experimenting with dragons in a conscious way within ritual and documented my journey here on the channel. But the difference is that my journey with dragons started much sooner than my channel ever did. I have memories of working with dragons for as long as I can remember. That's just the way that I experience this reality. However, when I was around the age of 16, 17, this was after a really ugly and brutal breakup that I went through, and I was currently in a new relationship that I was not being treated well in, and it was essentially a rebound relationship. But I remember this one night when I was home alone in my room at my mom's house, and it was back when I had my bunk bed in my room. If you guys remember, I had it's the setup that I had in my music video Horns. Not my music video, my lyric video. If you haven't heard my song Horns yet, the ukulele version, definitely click the cards, it'll be in the cards for you. But it was right around the time of me writing that song, actually, the story that I'm sharing today. And I just remember being in my room, and it was super late at night, 3 a.m. and I just had this overwhelming sense of this hollow feeling come over me, and I had this deep-seated fear of going nowhere fast and feeling there was more for me out there. I had this feeling that I wasn't in the right place and I could be doing better. And I laid on the floor and just staring at my ceilings with the the changing colored lights that I had at the time from my Shit to Shrine video. If you have not seen that video, it's a really good one as well, so definitely click the cards for that one too. But I basically was just staring at the colors changing on the ceiling and wondering how I could change just like the colors. And I remember going into this trance, almost meditative state while I was staring at these colors, and the colors shifting from red to green to blue to purple to pink to yellow and orange. It made me think of how all of the colors are genuinely so connected, yet they look so different and make us feel so different and are associated with such different things. But then it made me remember the episode from, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Remember that episode where, spoiler alert, sorry, but remember that episode where Aang and Zuko go to the I believe it's not the Sun People, but it's close to that. They go to this ancient civilization for the Sun Warriors, I think is what they're called. I think that's what they're called. And they end up finding the original dragons, and they have to dance with the dragons in order to have them show Aang and Zuko rainbow fire. And so when I'm in this trance-like state, I start seeing these lights on the wall as or ceiling I should say, as flames, but transitioning into different colors. It was this never-ending ceiling of fire that was transitioning from blue to green to red to all of the colors, and it was so beautiful. And it made me think, I was just like the dragonfire is rainbow fire. And the dragon's flame is the rainbow of all the colors that transmute and transform us. And at the time, I was most close to my dragon guardian, Monte, and Rosie. They were my closest guardians at the time. And I remember Monte giving me like this visual of like me doing this ritual like skyclad or like new, but with a bunch of candles. And I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. And I just kind of kept staring at the ceiling and like really dwelling on this like rainbow fire concept. You know what I mean? And then I get this like overwhelming urge that I'm like, no, like I'm supposed to be doing something right now. Like I felt this overwhelming like push to get up and do this ritual. And this is very unlike me in my personal practice. See, for me, spells are pretty like spontaneous, right? In the sense that like if I feel the need to do something, I would just like, you know, do a candle spell, or like, you know, burn a bay leaf, or like, you know, do a petition, or do automatic writing, or like, you know, do like a tea spell, like just anything, right? Like super spontaneous. But the one thing that I never did spontaneously was my rituals. And that's because I've always taken my rituals very seriously, in the sense that they're like sacred ceremonies, you know, that are the most important part of my practice, in the sense that like they were like the part of my craft that felt the most sacred, if that makes sense. And so I was like, no, I feel the need to just do this. And it was very random, to be honest with you. And so I just start following my heart, and I just start listening to my intuition, which is how I communicate with my dragons for the most part, of like what I should do and how I should set up, and like what was like next, right? Because normally in my rituals I will like follow my grimoire, or like follow like a ritual like plan that I've written out for myself, and make sure that I have all the ingredients prepared beforehand, and like, you know, like there's just like a little bit more of a protocol to my rituals, if you will. And so I just start like, I just get on my feet and start like essentially casting a circle. I ended up grabbing like all these tea light candles and like plopping them in random spots of my room. And the focus of this ritual was fire, okay? And you know, as we move on to discuss more about my practice of Draconianism, I want you guys to know that my practice of Draconianism is very like centered around rainbow fire, and it is very much because of like my initiation ritual, and the experience I'm sharing with you today just really kind of like set the stage for that, if you will. And so I put all of these like tea light candles all around my room, and I turn off all the lights and I light them, you know, minus the like lights that I had that were like mood lighting. So like the rainbow light that I was staring at on the ceiling is one of the lights that was still up. But I pretty much just tried to create the most like ethereal and like magical and like whimsical atmosphere that I possibly could, and putting on some like meditation music. And then I was like trying to like find like something to wear for the ritual. But like as I was like changing into different things, I was just like, no, I'm just supposed to be myself in this ritual. So I take all my clothes off, and then I just start beginning a ritual that is intuitively guided. And I use my wand, cast my circle, and I call upon my dragon guardians. And at the time I still worked with the elemental dragon guardians from DJ Conway's book Grail, Nalian, Fafnir, and Ceres, which we're definitely going to be doing a story time about that one, because there's just a lot to unpack. There's a lot to unpack with that. But I digress. Anyway, I call upon the elemental dragon guardians as I knew them back then when I was a 16-year-old kid. And then I just started to like really, like, what's the word? I don't want to say like induce a trance like state, but that's like kind of what was happening, because like I was doing like really intuitively guided dancing with my wand. And when I was using the wand and dancing, like I was like using it in a way that was like, I was visualizing like white fire coming out of the tip of the wand, and like as I was dancing and twirling my wand in different places, it was like the white fire was like creating the bubble, or creating the circle, if you will. And it was like if I danced this way and moved my wand that way, then the fire would spread out and go like this. And then if I was like doing this and doing that, like the fire was just like going like this, and eventually like all around me. And when I felt like the circle was cast, I set my wand down and I sat on the floor and I started doing breath work, because breathwork has always been a really key factor in my practice because it really helps me unify the mind, body, and spirit. And this is why I really recommend everybody like get on that like breathwork thing, okay? Like, I know, man, I know, but trust me, okay? Like, once you start a regular practice of breathwork and you start really taking it seriously, you're gonna notice amazing things happen for you. But take it easy, because you can like really make yourself lightheaded when you first start. So just beware of that. Okay. But once I felt like I was like a little tingly and a little bit more present in the moment, you know, that's when I like lit my altar candles and called upon certain guardians, who some of them I like can't share. They're like not public guardians. But Monte and Rosie were one of them, so you can know those ones. But I called upon them and basically was asking them to like bear witness to my fire. And again, this was entirely intuitively guided, okay? So I basically was just like, after I did all, like these 2 steps of like casting the circle in the fire and lighting the ring of candles around me and like doing the breath work and coming and grounding and centering in the present moment, inviting these dragons felt so different than normal, in the sense that like they were waiting for this moment. And I don't know how else to explain it other than that. But when I called upon my dragon guardians in this particular ritual, I knew they meant business, okay? And the only reason why I know that is because they genuinely like felt like they were ready and like they were waiting for me, not in a way that like I've ever experienced before. And then I just started singing, you guys. So this is the part that's like a little like intimate, if you will. So I'm not gonna like share with you guys what I sang. Respectfully, some of what I sang I don't remember. It was just purely in the moment, which is kind of what I wanted to touch upon as the whole point of today's video and today's story time, is the magic of song and singing, and doing so improvisationally within ritual has been the most powerful, the most beautiful, the most awe-inspiring experiences of my witchcraft, career. And I just started dancing in my circle with my dragons and singing to them, pledging to them that I was ready to transform, that I was ready to live the life that's better for me, that I was ready to chase my dreams and spread my wings and fly. And this ritual absolutely inspired my song Horns. It wasn't like the reason why I wrote the song, right? So like, if you haven't heard my song Horns before, it's a song that I wrote about this hat that's on my head. And I got the hat from an ex-boyfriend who was just horrible to me, and it has genuinely become like such an icon on my channel, these horns, and like they've become a huge part of my identity. And the fact of like, the lyrics of the song go, "You may have given me my horns, but now I'm spreading my wings," and that part of the like lyrics is literally like what the energy and the essence of this ritual was. I was in such a bad place mentally, and I was really deep into, you know, starting to mess around with things that I shouldn't mess around with, like, you know, hardcore substances and like drugs and stuff like that, and like being around people that were just not doing really good things. And like I was starting to really like fall into a really dark place, and this ritual was such a huge magical moment in my craft, because when I was in that circle and singing with my dragons and dancing with my dragons, I saw my future. Not in the sense that like, you know, I was predicting the future, but in the sense of like, I was like being gifted like a vision of what could be if I stay on this path. I was given like this visual of, this could be yours one day if you remember who you are now, is kind of like what I'm trying to touch upon. And I know I couldn't tell you how long I was in that circle dancing and singing with dragons, but let me tell you something, I've never casted a spell like this before this time. And after this ritual, it really set the stage for how my ceremonial like magic would be moving forward. Yes, I would do some like very like you know, like the lesser banishing ritual of the pentacle, like those kinds of rituals are very prescribed for you. But I'm basically saying that like my rituals, in the sense of like working with dragons, in the sense of like transformation, were entirely like built around this ritual after I had it and had so much success with it, because it was intuitively guided and felt very spontaneous. It was very off the cuff and was so much about being present and about being in rhythm and being embodied with my joy and with my hope and my dreams. And you'll never find something like that in a book. Do you understand me? Like, this type of magic, this type of ritual that I'm talking about, you'll never find it in a book, even if people write a book about rituals like this. Like, when you find it in your practice, you'll know what I'm talking about. And it's about letting go of our inhibitions and letting ourselves let loose and really be wild, witchy women, okay? Like, and if you're a man who works with dragons, that's awesome, but like, my content's totally geared towards women, in case you didn't know. But I digress. Basically what I'm saying is like, it helped me break free of what I thought I was supposed to be, who I thought I was supposed to be, how I thought I was supposed to perform rituals. Like, I didn't feel like I was like worthy unless I like, you know, did it a certain way. And this ritual really let me know that like, I am the magic, I am the ritual, I am the spell, and I am the path. Okay, so this is what I really wanted to share with you guys, because in that moment of singing to my guardians, of dancing with them in a firelit, candlelit circle, I realized and I remembered my purpose in this world was to be unapologetically in love with the dragons and to share my journey with them and to not be afraid, and to realize that this lifetime that I'm living is one for me to live my best life. It's one for me to be magical and not be afraid. It's one for me to be faithful and not be afraid. It's one for me to be creative and not be afraid, and one for me to be all of who I want to be and not be afraid. And it is a privilege and it is my honor of my lifetime to be able to share these things with you and to be able to have the life that I do and experience the magic that I do, because if I didn't have these experiences, I don't know who I would be. They are what have defined me and my path in this life. And that's why I say I'll wear my that's why I say I'll wear my horns proudly, because I am not ashamed of being a dragon. I'm not ashamed of dancing with dragons, and I'm not ashamed of setting myself on dragon fire. So thank you guys so much for listening to my little story time about my intuitive draconian initiation ritual when I was like 16. I think it was 16. But I've been doing this for a while, okay? So if I'm wrong, I'll put it in the description box. But I wanted to say, if you missed yesterday's episode, you're definitely going to want to check it out, because it was another story time that we did on, I believe it was how I was surviving Dragon Witch Talk and how I recovered from spiritual psychosis. It was a very interesting topic to talk about, but I was very anxious about it. However, I wanted to thank you guys so much for the feedback on that video, because you guys said it was a really good video and a really important one to make. So thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for tomorrow, because we're gonna have another magical story time video for you guys, another sacred story time about Draconic Wicca tomorrow. So I can't wait to share that with you either. And if you haven't joined us and you want to hang out with us in the Hatchling clan after today's episode, because it is kind of a late one today, I would love to hang out with you. Don't forget to click the first link in the description box down below to join us, and we can't wait to hear about your love for dragons and your journey along your magical path. So I'll see you very soon. Thank you so much for spending some of your day with me today, because I love sharing these things with you. It is the honor of my lifetime, like I said. But anyway, until next time, stay geeky, stay cheeky, and stay freaky! Little hatchlings! Ding! Kadafis, blessed be. Amen. Please follow me so I don't get lost.
We'll see you back.